Hey guys, what's going on? It's Little Dan596 here again with another video, and this time I'm going to be talking about the new Zelda game, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, that was shown at E3 2016. Without a doubt, this game won E3 for me, and for a lot of other people too. It was the most talked about game of this year's E3, which is saying a lot because there's a lot of cool games that got announced this year, like the new God of War. They showed more footage of Horizon Zero Dawn, Crash Bandicoot Remastered, which I'm extremely excited about. And then they had the new Pokemon Sun and Moon information, and they announced the new Xbox One and everything. There was a lot to talk about for this E3, and to say that Zelda Breath of the Wild took this, that's pretty amazing and kind of impressive for Nintendo because we haven't seen something like this from them in a while. Also, I'm going to make a quick apology. If you hear chirping or cricket sounds in the background, yes, I do have crickets for my pet lizard, and they won't shut up while I'm doing this recording. So you're going to have to deal with that for a little bit. So basically in this video, I'm just going to talk about all the cool new features that I really think was really good about the gameplay that they showed for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. At first, when they made the announcement, I thought they were just going to make the announcement and show like an hour or two of gameplay, but no, they did a 7-hour long stream, which you can go check out on their YouTube. It's still up right now, but the stream's not still going on right now, but it's up on YouTube if you happen to miss it. So they have a lot of cool stuff that they showed off during that stream. They had a couple different people playing it, but before they had their actual E3 event and stuff going on, they had a trailer for the game which completely blew my mind. The trailer was really, really good. And a lot of people at first didn't even know it was Zelda. They were just like, what is this game? This game looks massive. It's almost like Far Cry but with cel shaded graphics in a way. This game looks great. And then they showed at the end, it was they had Link running around, and they showed the Legend of Zelda logo. So yeah, that was really, really cool and a really impressive way to start their E3. So other than the trailer, after the trailer and a couple Pokemon Sun and Moon information, we got a couple of starters and stuff, they started to show more gameplay of the actual game. And how this game starts is really interesting, and they definitely wanted to go for something that was like the original Legend of Zelda game. And you can definitely see that here because in the original Legend of Zelda game, you were just plopped down in the world and you just did whatever you wanted to. Most people just walked into the cave and got the sword. But with this game, you start in the cave, which is a nice little twist. And it starts off with a mysterious voice just saying "Wake up, Link!" You need to wake up or something like that. We don't know who this voice is. They didn't say it at all. And so you just get up out of this place, and it's called the Shrine of Resurrection, which is a really cool name for that. It made me think, the Shrine of Resurrection. There's multiple links, so this link is obviously getting resurrected maybe from a different time period, or maybe even different universe, or could be a new timeline. We don't know, but it could take place. It could take place after any Zelda game, and that's what a lot of people are trying to wonder and figure out right now. So it's really cool, and you just walk through the cave. You get a Sheikah Slate, which is a phone type of thing. I don't really know, but you use it to scan enemies, and it shows you the map and your inventory and everything. So you get that, and you grab a couple chests with items in it. I think they have a shirt and pants or something like that in there. And then you just run outside, and you see this huge, massive world. And this world looks so big when you jump out of that cave. And they made a connection to Zelda 1 with this, because the artwork for Zelda 1 has Link looking over a cliff into this huge field area, and this game starts off with Link jumping off of, well, not jumping off, that was the trailer, but Link walking up to this cliff and looking over it and seeing this huge open area. It's really cool. So after you see the big huge open area and the logo of the game shows up, you see an old man, the camera flashes over to an old man. So in the demo, they walked over to the old man, and I think he gave him a sword or an axe or something like that. And then you just start your journey. You go and do whatever you want to do. Like, you don't have an order of things to do. You can go and explore, which is what they did. You can go and explore. I heard rumors that you can go straight to the final boss and beat the game right away. Or you can go and do all the mini dungeons, or you can do all the like main dungeons right away. And there's just so many different ways you can play this game, which really interests me, because there's not a limit on the way you play this game. It's your choices, your decisions. You do whatever you want. There's nobody telling you what you have to do. There's no handheld or hand holding in this game, apparently. And there are storyline objectives you can do, but you don't have to do them. And if you don't do them, you're not going to get nagged to do them. Like, for a lot of people, Ocarina of Time with Navi, she nagged you and told you that you had to keep doing stuff. Or in Skyward Sword, Fee kept telling you need to go and do stuff that you like don't want to do. You're like, chill out, I just want to go explore. Like, this game, you don't have somebody like that to say that, or like to keep telling you to do something. So other than that, he gets an axe. He starts. You can chop down trees, which I thought was really cool. You don't see that a lot in games. You don't really see environment interaction that much. But you can just chop down a tree with an axe, and there's logs you can make firewood with, and you can pick apples from the trees, which I think were really cool. So then after he does that, he jumps into this. I think he just jumps into this little pond, and you see one of, I think they're called kikoris from the Wind Waker, and it's really strange because the kikoris were only in the Wind Waker game. So maybe this game takes place in the Wind Waker timeline. Maybe it takes place before or afterwards. My guess is that it's going to take place afterwards, since it's the Shrine of Resurrection. Maybe this is the adult version of the Wind Waker timeline, because from Wind Waker, Spirit Tracks, and Phantom Hourglass, you're a kid. Maybe this is when Link grows up. But we don't really know that. We don't know anything, to be honest. And so there could be many different things. And when we saw the guy from Wind Waker pop out, the little Kokori, everybody in the crowd was like freaking out. Or everybody that was like watching the stream, like the Twitch chat was going crazy. They were like, why is this guy in the game? He was only in Wind Waker. Like, this is strange. Maybe this Zelda game is going to have... It's going to be the Zelda game that brings all of the Zelda universes into one. Maybe. Like, there could be the Twilight people here. There already is the Wind Waker people here. Maybe we might see some familiar faces from Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask. Maybe Majora might come back. Who knows? But, or maybe even the Picori from Minish Cap. There could be, like, if they brought all of the Zelda universes and all of the, like, Zelda species into one game, that would be amazing, and that would blow my mind. This game's already blowing my mind. If they did that, this would be insane. So who knows where this could be on the timeline right now. A lot of people are predicting it's after Wind Waker. I'm gonna kind of guess that it's after Wind Waker as well. So other than that, they go to the Temple of Time. And the Temple of Time in this game is kind of strange because it's all destroyed and, you know, decapitated and everything. It's like, it's really like old and broken and messed up. So what I think is that in this game, you're going to be able to time travel, because that is what he wanted. That is what, that's what they wanted to do in the original Zelda game, which is why they named Link, because they wanted him to be the link between time. And they have experienced time travel in other games like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, but maybe they might do it differently here, because in the E3 trailer for last year, they had Link running away from what they call now the Guardians. And in this version, it looks like some of the Guardians are like sleeping or in some sort of slumber. Some of them wake up, some of them run around, some of them don't, but we don't really see it like we did in the trailer that we saw beforehand. So maybe they're going to play a big part in this, and I really hope time travel plays a good part in this. That would be really interesting. Also, like the Temple of Time, like it's could take place after Ocarina of Time, and maybe even before Wind Waker, or after Ocarina of Time and after Wind Waker. We don't really know, but I hope when the game comes out, obviously we'll figure it out, but maybe we can figure out some more information beforehand. So another really cool feature that they added in this game is the feature to cook. Now this is kind of interesting. Like we've never seen this before in a Zelda game. This is a Zelda first. So if you want, you can run around the environment, collect items, and gather materials. And there around the game, you'll see like bokoblins huddling around like a fire, usually cooking meat or just like hanging out. If you go and kill them, you can take their meat and take their food, take their materials, and then you can run around Hyrule, or if this place is even Hyrule, you can run around the mainland, and you can find little like mushrooms and stuff around, which will also be like more cooking ingredients. And then once you finally get enough things that you think you want to cook up, there's little like you can cook them with any type of fire. So maybe like fire arrows. I could be wrong if there's. You can cook them with fire arrows. You can cook them on the Bokoblins fires that you usually see them at, like their little campfires. And they also have these little like pot things. They're like a bowl of. It's like a bowl over a fire, and then you can interact with it and put in whatever ingredients you want, and then Link will cook them up, which was a really cool thing to see. And he pops out some type of food. I don't really know what kind of food it is. I didn't watch too much on the cooking segment, but I did see it and it was really cool. And apparently if you don't mix the right materials together, you'll get some messed up weird food that only restores like one heart. And then you can cook together something that you can cook the materials together that will actually work to give you something that will be good to eat and restore plenty of hearts. And they can do stamina boost. They can just do like a lot of status effects. They can give you like extra hearts, make you deal extra damage, I'm assuming. And it's just a really cool feature that hasn't been implemented in a Zelda game yet. Another cool thing that they touched upon were the amiibos. Now, not only are they releasing 3 new amiibos, which I think they called like the Link Shooter or Link Archer one. There's another Link one, and then there's Link Rider, which is Link riding some sort of horse. And then there's the Guardian amiibo. We don't really know what these amiibos are going to do, but they could play a cool role in this game, and they probably will. Like maybe they'll have them have the same features that they did in Twilight Princess, where you can restore more hearts or make the game more difficult by having enemies do double damage, or maybe like giving you like bombs or something. Like we have no idea what these things are doing. Maybe they might open up like new dungeons or new mini dungeons and trials and stuff, or maybe they'll give you a new item. I don't really know, but it's gonna be cool. Another thing that they showed was the Wolf Link amiibo will work with this game, which I thought was pretty interesting. And when you put the amiibo to the gamepad, Wolf Link from Twilight Princess comes in and helps you and hangs out with you. I think that was really, really cool. So Wolf Link will come in and he can attack any enemies he sees. He can help you gather materials and hunt for food and stuff. And he's going to have the same amount of hearts that you did in Twilight Princess. So if you had 16 hearts in Twilight Princess, he's going to have 16 hearts in this game. If you had 10, he's going to have 10. And enemies can do damage to him and stuff. I'm assuming after he dies or faints, you might be able to like touch him on the gamepad again and bring him back. I don't really know, but to have Wolf Link follow another Link around in this universe is actually pretty cool. And that kind of relates back to my other theory about them linking together multiple Zelda universes. They are bringing Wolf Link from Twilight Princess into this game, and they also have the Kikori from Wind Waker. So who else is going to be in this game? One thing that I noticed in this game when they were showing it off was in the bottom right corner they have a mini map, which is kind of a normal thing to have in an open world game. And then besides it, they had these 2 little icons. They had like a purple sound bar and then another icon which I couldn't figure out what it was at first. So at first I was like, I have no idea what this thing could be. And then they started to explain it. So above the purple sound bar is a temperature gauge, which is also new to the Zelda universe and actually might even be new to games in general. I don't think I've ever seen this implemented in any type of game ever. This has never been done in a game before. It's a temperature gauge, and what its purpose is if Link is in somewhere that's like super cold, he has to put on more clothes or he'll start freezing to death. Or if he's at somewhere that's like super hot, like a volcano, he's gonna have to take off some clothes so he won't, melt or have a heat stroke. So that's really cool that we haven't seen this before implemented in games. I could be wrong, it could be in some other games, but this is the first time I've ever seen something like this. And I think that is such a cool feature because it's actually making the game feel like a real life like interaction event, and making sure that Link is actually like a real person instead of just like a video game character. So this temperature gauge is a really cool unique feature. And then below the temperature gauge, like I said before, is a purple soundbar. So this is used obviously for sound, but maybe there'll be sections in the game where you need to sneak around and you need to know how quiet Link is being or maybe how loud he's being. So they didn't really show off any sneaking segments, but when you're crouched, the soundbar does go quieter. And there might just be like, I'm really hoping there to be some sort of stealth to this game. Like you can sneak up on like bokoblins and stuff, but other than that, like I want like stealth missions to do. Like stealth side quests where you need to go and sneak up somebody and like steal something out of their pocket. Almost like Sly Cooper, but not completely revolved around stealth. It is a cool like mini side mechanic that they have. Random horses are also something in this game. So instead of having Link get a horse in the beginning and naming it Epona or whatever it is, blah, 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 he can run around and find wild horses and then just tame them and ride them. So you can have whatever color horse you want, which is really interesting. And again, they have never implemented this in Zelda before. They've usually just given you Epona and said, here, name it, you can ride it, do whatever. But no, you can go out and find your own horse and do it your own way. The size of the map to this game is enormous. This is one of the biggest games we've probably seen yet. I heard that it was a little bit smaller than Xenoblade Chronicles or Xenoblade X's map, but this map is huge. I'm not exactly sure how big it is, but I saw an article saying that it was like 150 miles long or something like that. I could totally be wrong, but this map is huge. In the demo, they just showed off like one little plateau area, and within 7 hours of like gameplay and footage, they still did not explore everything. They had people that were playing the demo, and people were saying that they had 3 different people playing the demo. They all went different ways, different routes, and they still didn't even explore the whole thing. And if they didn't explore the whole plateau within those 7 hours, they said this plateau just makes up nearly around 1 to 2% of this game's map and this game. And if you can't explore something within 7 hours and it only takes up 1 to 2% of your entire game, this game is going to be massive. Like, this game is going to be huge. I think they said it was like 3 times larger than Grand Theft Auto 5's map. And when that game came out, everybody was going crazy because you can fly a plane from one side of the map to the other, and it would take you 20 minutes just to get through the whole thing. Now, if this game is 3 times that size, it's going to take you an hour to fly a plane over it. Obviously, there's not a plane in this game, but it would take you an hour to go from one end of the map to another. And that is huge. Not a lot of people realize how big of a game this is going to be. And a lot of people are saying, oh, this game's going to be so huge, but it's going to be so boring. There's nothing going to be to do. They should make this game smaller so there's more stuff to do. Blah, 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 blah. But with their 7 hours of gameplay, they showed off so many unique features in this one little plateau area. There was so much going on. There was either wild animals running around, bokoblins to fight, pools to go, or not pools, but lakes to go swimming in, shrines to go explore in, and anything. There's so many things to do. You can go cooking and stuff. I don't think this game is ever going to get boring with exploration. I think exploration is one thing that they really worked on with this game and made it to its best potential. So there's going to be I don't think anybody has to worry about the game just being bland and boring and empty, because they did say that like open world games are great, but if there's nothing to do in them, there's nothing to do in them, and it's going to make them boring and suck. But I definitely don't think that's going to be the case with this game. I definitely think there's going to be something to do at almost all times. So, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, there's trials and shrines in this. So the trials and shrines, or I'm just going to call them shrines because I think that's what they're called. But they said that there's over 100 of these little shrines across this whole game. And these shrines are just like mini dungeons with puzzles to solve. I think you can get new items from these. I'm not exactly sure. But they have a lot of cool puzzles you can do. I'm not exactly sure what role in the story these are going to be doing, but they're going to be all over the place for you to do. And they're just like a quick little mini dungeon that you just do a couple puzzles and you help out the little dude that's at the end with whatever he needs to be done. And he says, like, your help to fighting Ganon. But again, like I said, I don't really know the full purpose of these shrines. I just know that they're like little mini dungeons. They also said that there's going to be like 4 main dungeons and then 100 mini dungeons, which is okay, but I would like them to have a little bit more than just 4 main dungeons, because if you think about it, that's Dungeon 1, Dungeon 2, Dungeon 3, and then Ganon's Castle. So basically like 3 main dungeons. But I could be wrong. They could be excluding Ganon's Castle from that, and they could have more than just 4 main dungeons in there. But I really hope they do have like the standard 7 dungeons, because that was always the key limit. Not too many, not too little. 7 is a great number. 4, I'm gonna be okay with it. I mean, there's 4 main dungeons in Majora's Mask, and that's my favorite game of all time. So if they could pull off 4 dungeons in this, just like they did in Majora's Mask, then hey, it might actually work. One of the coolest features that they showed off about this game, and kind of blew my mind, was Link can go snowboarding on his shield. How fucking epic is that? When you're running around the wilderness, and if it's like snowing out or whatever, and you're on the top of like a huge mountain, Link can just do a flip, land on his shield, and start to go snowboarding. Not a lot of people have been talking about this, and I think it's one of the coolest features they showed off about this game. Like, excuse me, but going snowboarding is so cool. It's not only a faster way of transportation, but it makes Link look badass and pretty cool. Like, you don't see snowboarding in an open world game. You don't see skateboarding. In Grand Theft Auto, you had bike riding, but you didn't have skateboarding or snowboarding. This is a first in games, in open world games as well. And I think it is one of the coolest features they definitely showed off. I cannot even explain how cool I really think this is. It's really, really interesting, and I kind of can't believe that they implemented that in this game. It's like those little touches that they put in the game that make it that much more better. As we were shown in the trailer, and as I talked about earlier, Link can chop down trees and interact with the environment. So, yes, I already talked upon this a little bit, but I didn't talk about how if let's say there's a canvas and Link needs to get across it, he's not going to have a ladder to do that. He might have like a high cliff he can jump off and just float over to, but other than that, there's really no way for him to get over it unless he chops down a tree. Now, depending on the way you chop down a tree, it could land and make a path and make a small little bridge to get over a canvas, which I thought was really, really cool. And it's not how most games have it, where it's like you can interact with something in the environment, but afterwards the effect of that interaction, it's going to have like a set action or a set plan to do. Like if a building crumbles, it's only going to crumble in that one spot. It's not going to, tip over whatever direction you are. But here, it's corresponding with where you cut the tree. So if you cut the tree from the back of the tree, it's going to land forward. If you cut it on an angle or on the side of it, it's not going to land and make a bridge for you. It's going to land and fall off into the cliff, and you're going to have to go and chop down another tree. So I thought that was really cool, how it's not like a set desired position when making the bridge to get across. You cut it however you want, and if you screw up, you have to go find a new tree and cut it down the right way so you can get your bridge and get across your little canvas. So those are a lot of cool things that I thought were really interesting about the gameplay that they showed with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I think this game is going to be amazing. It's blowing everybody's mind right now. All of these little tiny features that they're adding in and showing off are such cool little things that people want in a game, you know? Like, we don't want you to just throw something boring at us and we just have to play it and get through it, you know? But no, they're actually showing us a lot of like cool little things and features that are just making the game that much more better. Like, even now, people are finding out on the internet that if Link's not wearing the proper shoes and he goes to kick open a chest, he stubs his toe. He's like a real person. They're making this seem like a real life game. They're adding in the cooking elements which restore hearts and health. So I don't think when you kill people you're not going to get hearts, or when you cut down the grass you're not going to get hearts. You have to go and cook and make it yourself. They're really making this game like survivalist in a way, and exploration, and then hopefully this game is going to have a good story. That is just one of my main downfalls about this game, is it might not have a great story. But if the gameplay is great, that's great. But I'm more of a story oriented person, and if a game has a bad story, it's not going to be the greatest game for me. But if the game has a great story and crappy gameplay, I'm going to love that game. For example, Majora's Mask has a really, really good story, but the gameplay isn't that great. Well, according to other people, I think the gameplay is pretty good, but it's not the best gameplay. But the gameplay from this looks really, really great, and hopefully they make a really, really good story with this gameplay. So, like, in my eyes so far, this game's getting a 10 out of 10. No doubt about it, hands down. Like, this game is amazing so far. But if they screw up the story on it, I don't think it's going to make that 10 out of 10. Or if they make the story really, really short, which I really have a feeling they might do because of those 4 dungeons. If the story is short, I'm going to be really disappointed. Because games kind of need a story in order for them to be, good. Like, Grand Theft Auto 5 was it's something I was comparing earlier. The game was huge, the gameplay is really, really fun. But you can only play it for, at least me, I can only play the game for so many times, until I get bored of doing the same thing over and over again. Now, yes, I said in the open world there's always going to be some things to do and you're not really going to get bored, but if I finish the story within like 5 hours and then I'm just exploring this game, there's really like no need to. But like I said, so far this game has absolutely no flaws for me. I think this game is going to be great. I'm not really worried about what they're doing. When people said that Zelda Wii U is going to be the only game that they're showing off at E3, I really didn't have a problem with that. A lot of people hated that and were like, oh, Nintendo's ruining E3 again. But when they showed off this game, it blew everybody's mind. So much so that it was the most trending topic in the world on Twitter. And if you don't believe me, there's proof out there. So, that is my thoughts on Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like I said, this game is going to be absolutely amazing so far from what they showed, and with all these cool little things here and there. And like I said, that's my thoughts on this game. If you want to, you can leave your thoughts down below in the comments section, and I'll make sure to get back to them. And stay tuned and subscribe to this channel for more weekly content and updates on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Smash Brothers, Pokemon, and anything. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe. I post pretty cool content, and I'll see you guys next time.